Welcome, everyone, to the Therapy of the Absurd podcast.
Hi.
How's everybody doing?
Stacy, Stacy in the house. Woo.
Woo.
You guys are
It's
scared,
another
aren't you?
Thursday, getting ready for Friday. I got something to clean up later. So, anyway,
Hide the dead body. Hide the dead body.
subtle. Yes. Sure, don't tell anybody. So, how's the week going?
Who wants to go first?
Busy. Always grateful, but like busy. Like I was blessed. I booked my first like VO job like as a talent, and so found out I booked on Monday, recorded on Tuesday, and then while I'm in a class this morning, they're texting me like they want to record one more thing. Can you da 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 da? But meanwhile, they're giving me Eastern times, but I didn't know they were Eastern time. So they're like, okay, can you be ready at 4? And I forgot that we had to do everything Eastern time the day before. So I was like, yeah, so I'm trying to push my tutoring clients around. And then all of a sudden my class is running over and someone's like, you're supposed to be online right now. It's like, oh shit. Fuck. Like, so then I was like, so I had to get up, run from one computer to the other computer to record. And, obviously it's exciting, but it was just kind of like, yay, just like didn't expect that. They were very nice people. They were just like, we actually had you record the wrong line. So we had to come back. And but here's the thing, I'm not complaining. I don't really care. Like I got excited. So that was it. So it was just that thing where I was in class and then I went from that and then still tutoring the beautiful minds of children in math. So I had two sets of clients today and record clients, social media client, like it just felt like it was nonstop. And I was just grateful to get a shower, get cleaned up, put on my perfume. No, really no perfume. and meet you guys. So that's okay.
You mentioned a beautiful mind and math in the same sentence. It made me think I got to watch that movie again.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great movie.
It is a great movie. It is really a great movie.
I like Ron Howard.
I do want to share something really fast though. You guys, when we were talking about comedy movies, nobody mentioned this movie, and I saw something come up on Instagram and it just brought joy to my week. The Hangover.
Oh yeah.
Like literally. And I say that because when they're like they're either getting booked by the police or whatever it is, and the police, and so I can't even think of his name, the actor, he steps up and then the police officer goes, "Not you, fat Jesus." And
the guy from the Two Ferns, Between Two Ferns.
Right. And that line, honestly, just as a writer, I think up to that point, just because of life and how life was going as a mother, you're just kind of going through it. But when I heard that line, I was like, I'm alive. Like, I want to write again. Like that line, because I want to write, like when you hear
Fat Jesus made you alive again.
It did, honestly. Like if you like
Fat Jesus. He saved me from not laughing.
Right. Spoken from like I'm telling you, like motherhood is no joke. Single motherhood is absolutely no joke. And you get in your own kind of hamster wheel of life, and then you hear something that like sparks joy. So yeah,
Fat Jesus.
No, not you, fat Jesus, because that's like whoever grew up playing the dozens, your mama so you so skinny, you so, but whatever it is, and to hear that just made me like laugh. Not you, fat Jesus, because I'm just like who wrote that? Like, anyway, I just thought that was the fattest line. That was the fattest line. That was the funniest line ever. I mean, the whole movie is good, period. But
I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Is that Galifianakis?
Yes.
Last name is Galifianakis.
Yes.
What's the first name? Andy Galifianakis?
Steve? Is it Steve? What is his first name?
No, it's Zach. It's Zach Galifianakis.
Zach. Yeah.
There you go.
No, his Between Two Ferns series is great, and I haven't got to watch the movie yet, but it's one of the ones on my list. But he has done such a great job. One of the best was with Bruce Willis, where Bruce Willis was just like making him. Of course, it's all an act, but the uncomfortability in the room was great. Like he's doing all these wash-up jokes with Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis comes back at him like one day you're on top of the world, you make some funny movie about in Vegas or something, and then years later, no one knows who you are. Just you wait. and like, and Zach Galifianakis like, "You're not going to hit me, right?" Like
Oh yeah.
it was all an act, but they did it so well. It was done so
Right.
well. And then the one
Oh
with
yeah.
Charlize Theron, where he's obviously attracted to her, but he's getting uncomfortable, and so she's saying the things to make it even worse. She goes, "Hey, let me tell you something. I got this sweat that's just going down my back into my underwear.
Ooh,
It's really
yuck.
hot in here." And he's just sitting there going, don't make me think of that.
Oh yeah. No,
He got
he has an interview with Jerry Seinfeld that's really funny. He has Cardi B come on, and he tells Seinfeld to go
Wow.
sit on the little milk crate looking thing. He's like, "Oh, can you go sit on that milk crate over there?" He's like, I don't have a chair." And then she straight up like ghosts him. He comes in for like a hug, you know, a Hollywood kind of hug, trying to get like a little smooch on the cheek and a handshake, and she just oh, and just ghosts him.
She
you
gives him
know,
the cold shoulder.
yeah. I mean, he
I
was.
love it. Cardi B is like, fuck you, bitch.
I'm trying to think if he was also in the Tim and Eric $1 billion movie, which, by the way, is for a
Oh,
certain
that's hilarious.
audience.
That's
It is
hilarious.
hilarious,
I
but it
heard
is
he's
for a certain
really
audience.
socially awkward. Like as a person, like normally human, like because everybody always thinks that people on TV are a certain way. Like people tend to forget that people are a character on movies and TV.
Oh
Like
yeah,
a lot
they're
of them
still
aren't
human.
like that. Like even who was his name? The guy from Wolf on Wall Street. What's his name again?
Leonardo
Shit.
DiCaprio.
Not Leonardo, the other one. The other
Oh, the
one.
one that lost a lot of weight and who doesn't look the same
Yeah.
Uh,
What's his name?
from Superbad.
Yes.
Anybody in the chat want to guess the name of the chubby dude
It's
from
like
Superbad?
not clicking in my head. However, he has a really bad anxiety issue. So if you were at any point were to approach him, if you were to meet him and approach him, he might be really socially awkward, but
Mm.
apparently it's an anxiety issue. Like
Ah,
that's what I read. I don't know. I don't
there you
know
go,
him.
Jonah
I
Hill.
don't know. Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, well,
That's it.
that's what makes that one clip of Leonardo DiCaprio running up to him screaming like he's a fan so hilarious. Is he Jonah Hill doesn't see him coming and they're friends. And Leonardo DiCaprio just runs up going, "Oh my god, it's Jonah Hill. Oh my god." And Jonah Hill's like, "Ah, ah." And then he realizes it's Leonardo DiCaprio and he goes, "You asshole, just
No, you know what? The weirdest celebrity encounter I've had was so I live in Highland Park, which is a common like filming location, and Criminal Minds would film there every single season, without a doubt. Criminal Minds is always there every single season. And this was right after Thomas Gibson, who was the main guy for a while throughout the entire show, had been on TMZ because apparently he had been catfished by some woman. I don't know. I'm just going based off information. Please don't take me seriously because I don't want to get sued. And okay, this did happen. I was physically there. So he was filming a scene, and there was this fan woman, because she wasn't a girl, she was a woman, she was a grown-ass woman. She goes towards him after the scene has finished filming, and she's like, "Oh my god, Thomas, I love you. Oh my god, I'm your biggest fan. Oh my god." She's fangirling hard, right? And he goes crazy, okay? He goes like, "No, like legit, like, no." And there is this food catering. Yes, like, no. And there's like this food catering truck right next door to the filming scene. And he opens it and runs there for safety. Like he does not want to be approached at all. And he runs to the food truck. He's like, "Get her away from me. Get her away from me." Like he goes crazy because he does not want anybody towards him. The PA, which is a production assistant, is like, "I'm so sorry. He's just having a really, really bad day." He tells this to this fan. And I had never, ever seen anybody like this. Like, what's his name? No. Shamar Moore. Okay,
Oh,
Shamar
wow.
Moore. This is mwah, gorgeous. Mwah, God. Right? Sweetest, kindest guy is like, oh, I'm so sorry. You want to take a picture with me? I'm like, yes, you're God.
Oh,
Mwah.
girl, you are. Woo, she said you are God.
Oh, it's getting hot in here.
He's
Woo,
sexy.
woo, have
No,
mercy.
he's a cute one. He's a cute one. He's a cute one. He's a cute one. That's
Cute
for
one.
sure.
He's God.
Okay.
Just
Anyway,
wanted to.
so, but Thomas Gibson was so like he did not want any fan interaction that he ran away from her. Literally, he ran into a food truck
Ooh.
that belonged to a catering company, and he ran into it and locked himself in because he did not want to be disturbed. It was that bad. And I was like,
Wow.
Oh, and he went in there and he saw how they were making sausages, and he got more disturbed.
I don't know. He locked himself in. Like, he literally locked himself in, that the PA was like, oh, okay, we're not going to mess with this guy at all. And he apologized to the fans, like, I'm so sorry. He's having a really bad day. And they didn't even know what to say. That hesitation, that break between words was like, okay.
All right.
To this day, that sticks to my head. But still, Shamar Moore, oh God.
I don't know, like
Yes.
early in Shamar Moore's career, but like, I mean, literally like post soap opera, maybe before, like obviously before Criminal Minds, I was working in records, and at the time, the head of the label was Tracy Edmonds, Babyface's the songwriter, the Titan, his wife. It was her label, but I was working there, and Shamar came in for a meeting because they had to, like, there was a casting office. Robbie Reed Casting was below us. Edmonds Management, who was managing all these great, African American stars, just all these great folks. And I remember he came in to meet with Tracy, so he would have to come by my desk. And my other good girlfriend, we're friends to this day, but like I was so embarrassed. She was like, "Can we call my girlfriend right now?" So she'll like to talk to you. So they literally like used my desk phone to call the girlfriend so that he could leave a message. So no, I totally, he's definitely, all I can say is definitely a cute one. He's a cute
I only got a message from Gilbert Godfrey once. It was great.
Okay, you see him on TV, and he's like, mwah, and then you see him in person, you're like, mwah, 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 you want to eat him up.
Stacy.
All right.
We're gonna do our next segment. What is it, Dan? Weird.
Well, you could show the screen. I put a
Yes,
title
sir.
this time. Weird traditions from around the world. Weird to us Americans, that is. Did you like that effect? I did that with my mouth. Okay, so now let's show our first weird tradition. Now, what do you think this is? Oh, by the way, it's not showing the... I need the notes. There we go. Okay, so what do you think this is, everybody?
An arranged marriage? Without a toilet?
Maybe. I don't know about that.
A funny
But
hat?
on the island of Borneo, the largest Indonesian island, the Tidong tribe still follows ancient traditions that prohibit newlywed couples from using the bathroom 3 days and 3 nights. Yeah, the bride and groom are watched. Yeah, they're watched carefully from their parents during the ceremony, and they're only given small amounts of food and drink.
Oh.
So they're watched carefully. Days after their marriage. Great. They believe the custom will lead to a long, healthy, and fertile marriage, and that if broken will result in terrible bad luck. After the 3 days, the newlyweds are allowed to resume normal life and they can begin their marriage. So basically,
Oh boy.
your first few days with your newlywed wife is going, ouch, 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 I shouldn't have had so much sake. I don't know if they have sake in Indonesia, but we had it near our wedding. Oh, why did this go to it's not in full screen anymore. I'm sorry, y'all.
So no worries. So they can't go to the bathroom for 3 days?
For 3 days and 3 nights.
Yes. I complain after 2 days. What the fuck?
I'd complain in the first like 20 minutes, yo. I'd be like, dude, I gotta piss. I ain't holding this. Divorce.
Well, so for us Westerners, if you think about usually you have like your favorite foods and stuff at your wedding, things like that. Nope, none of that. As little
Right.
foods as possible. No candy bar.
I'd have to be
No.
fasting. I'd have to be fasting. I just have to be fasting because there's no way. Like I'd have to be fasting. There's just no way. Bless their hearts. Lord, bless their hearts.
I need to. Like, I get grumpy. Like, I have problems already, and if I can't, like, after 3 days, we're gonna have an issue. Like, I'm gonna be a bitch.
Well,
Be like,
let's see what we have next then, because
Like,
this might help
something
become
stuck
a little
there.
bitchier. Trust me on this one.
Oh man.
What do we think this? Oh wow, the internet's great today. Hey, what do we
Here we
think
go.
this is?
This
is called-
Earth Day. I don't know.
This is called Polterabend. I might be saying it wrong. It comes from a German verb, Polten, making a lot of noise, and a bend, evening. And it's the same as a bachelor party, except all the friends and family of the German couple come to in front of their house and smash a bunch of porcelain in front of their house, and then they all sit and watch as the married couple cleans together.
Wow.
Wait, so what is it? So say that one more time. They clean together? What do they clean?
Yeah,
together?
all the stuff, their friends and family, all the porcelain that was smashed in front of their home,
Oh,
they have to clean it together. And what it is practice to working in difficult times.
I love that.
Uh,
I love that. I mean, I hate that all the porcelain was smashed, but I mean, over here we have these vows, richer or poor in sickness and health, and and people get ghost at a point. So so I think that's a great kind of situation. And I have to admit, I'm the person who struggles with the routine of like being neat and tidy. So honestly, if I make it through, if I make it through that ritual, you got me. Like everything will be better because, like, for me, that's tidying up is an issue. So I love it. I love it. I love it.
I don't know, man. If you're coming to my house,
I can hear
and
those
you're gonna-
earrings, Stacy.
if you're coming to my house and
Yeah.
you're gonna throw some like porcelain at my porch, I hope you got a broom and a dustpan, man, because I ain't trying to clean that up. Hell,
No.
And here's the thing, look at this
I'm
couple.
not cleaning anything up.
Yeah,
No.
look at this couple. They are on cobblestone. This couple's on grass, so I'd rather be them. She got to wear a tank top too. It looks kind of sunny there. They're dressed in Lederhosen, or however you say it.
Lederhosen.
Lederhosen! Okay, I think we've offended the Germans enough. Let's go on to slide 4. What do you think this is?
Something with their
I was trying to figure that
families
out.
going on.
Okay, the bike should give away that it's Denmark.
Okay, well the flag too, actually.
Right.
Make
I
a
thought
flag, too.
Denmark was really friendly. What's going on?
I was thinking we've all been to
When you
Denmark.
turn 25, if you're unmarried, it is customary in Denmark for your friends and family to cover you in cinnamon. If you have stayed
Aw,
single until
achoo.
25, they don't go easy on you, by the way. They cover you from head to toe and splash you with water so the cinnamon sticks better. By the way, cinnamon is flammable. This is actually highly dangerous.
Well, not only that, if you get enough in your
So
windpipe,
they're
you
setting you
can
on
suffocate
fire?
too.
Okay.
No, they just cover them like from head to toe in cinnamon.
Well,
And by the way, if you so on your 30th birthday, the cinnamon gets upgraded to pepper if you haven't gotten married yet. This is abusive. Yes.
And what-
Anthony
what?
Virial, talk about the cinnamon challenge. You are right.
so how long before they throw the pepper?
Five more
your
years.
30th.
Five
Five more
dude,
years
oh,
and you
hell
get
no.
covered in pepper.
Oh hell no! You're gonna get beat the fuck up, dude. Hell no! And on the cinnamon thing, there's two things on that. All right.
Marry me. Oh my
On the-
god, I'm ovulating.
on
Hurry,
the-
marry me.
On the cinnamon thing though, bugs do not like cinnamon. That's actually you can look that up. Number two, if some people throw some eggs at these motherfuckers, they can turn them into cinnamon toast. You know what I'm saying? You get some eggs and get some bread up on that. You can make some French toast.
Yeah, if you wait till they're too old, it's cinnamon toast crunch. So
There you go.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. Bless her heart. Bless her
I
heart.
mean,
Bless her
now
heart.
she looks like they decided, hey, let's go to an empty stadium to do this because that makes sense.
She
Right,
probably
like
ran away and ended up in the stadium.
So
And
wait.
look at her pride over here with
So
the
then let me
flag.
ask.
She looks
Let me ask this.
crunchy.
Okay, but let me ask this. So is that a guy in that middle photo? So
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So they're not discriminate. Like, so they're not sexist
No.
about it. Oh, I love that. I love that everybody is incentivized
It's an
one way.
equal-
I would not be
Yeah,
living
yeah.
in it.
Equal
This
opportunity.
This actually
cinnamon.
started with
It's like-
bachelors first. They started with bachelors
I-
and then it moved on to both.
Okay.
So
I can't. Okay. No, this
I
is
totally
not
dig
gonna
it.
work towards me. Somebody's gonna be like, "Why is she spicy?" Like, this is not going to work towards me. And what is wrong with people? Like, I'd be sneezing the fuck out of everything. Like, people are gonna think I have corona if somebody were to throw a bunch of cinnamon at me. This is not gonna work. This is not going to help me get laid. Like, this is wrong.
Cinnamon
Don't do
smells
this.
nice. Cinnamon
It
smells
doesn't
nice.
seem like
Yes.
getting laid is the point. It
But
seems like
people
it's
are
just
gonna
all
think
about
you're sick or
marriage.
you have
And by the
allergies.
way,
Like, this is wrong.
for those of you that know me in the stream here, you replace this with cheese, and I'm all in. I am all in if it's covered with cheese. I will take
Dan
that.
will love you if you're covered in
What?
cheese.
Cinnamon and cheese? What is wrong
No,
with
no,
you?
not the no. X-Nate
What kind
cinnamon.
of farm
I
have you been
just want the
working?
cheese.
Like,
I just want the cheese. You give me that Tostitos salsa con queso, and I'm happy.
who
All right.
brings you? What is wrong with you?
Did we
A
have
lot of things.
Did we have another one by chance?
Oh, we have
Yeah.
a few.
Yeah, because we got our
What
time
is this? Who knows what
Yeah.
this is? Come on in the comments. If
Oh,
Nate's here, he
God.
knows what this is.
People who got hit in the face by a slow-moving car.
No,
No,
not at all.
no.
They're doing this on purpose.
Are they giving
This
up their
is-
dentures or what's the deal?
This is
Oh,
called
God.
gurning. And gurning. So in British English, the gurn is a distorted or particular facial expression. So gurning contests are in rural English. I always mess up the word rural English tradition. They are regularly held in some villages, and the contestants traditionally framing their faces through a horse collar, known as gurning through a braffin. So they actually have the World Gurning
I get it.
Championship, which is where this from, and the Argument Crab Fair. So everybody try to gurn.
I can't do it.
Not
I can't do it either. I'm not British enough. I'm a Spaniard.
Where are all the Asian people in this? Because I don't see any Asian people.
I
I
can't do this. I can't do it.
you know
I'm
what?
not-
You bring up a good point. I have often not seen an Asian man with an English accent or an Asian woman with an English accent. If the first time I do, I'll be very happy because
Hello
you know,
there, Governor.
Well, you
Yeah.
like so if you listen to people, you can hear it. Like there, like they say there was there was a period in the world where the sun never set on the British Empire. So yeah, they colonized everybody, and like sometimes you can, if you listen to the right Asian, you can actually hear the British accent, but their own native accent is so much more prominent. But if you really listen, you've heard it and probably not really realized that was there. You have to. But I've definitely heard it. But I don't think. But that those days are over. So
and
Oh,
this
yeah.
man up here in the middle top was actually one of the champions. So,
Wow. I'm
with
sure
his
all the
face,
ladies.
How do you do that? Do you just suck all the fat in? Like, is that
No.
I'm
what
like,
you
where are their teeth? Nobody has teeth. Well, at least
This is years of inbreeding.
okay.
Okay. Okay. You know, the perfect selfie pose for an influencer is just sucking the fat in between your cheeks and you just like
Mm.
you
Yeah.
have to make sure that that squiggly thing you hear in the background has to like hit right in order to ensure your picture's perfect.
As the people in my family say, giving the purty mouth.
You got a pretty mouth.
So let's check this out. This next one.
All right, what's the next one?
What do we think this is?
Planet
Are
of
they those
the
monkeys in
baby
Thailand
monkey?
that like steal shit?
They are, actually. But this is on the last Sunday of November among the ruins of Par Prong Samyot. I probably said that wrong. In the temple of Lopburi, Thailand. There a beautiful banquet awaits guests of honor, none of whom are human. This feast is held in celebration of the thousands of macaws that come, and they say it brings good luck. Here's the thing, though. When this is over and they have eaten all the food, the monkeys tend to actually turn violent, and they still do this every year. The monkeys, like, take out, no fucking food left? That's it, I'm breaking your shit! Like, that's what the monkeys do. It's just crazy, and they do this every time. And we should say macaws, but, like, they still do it, and they respect them. They're like, hey, they're mad. We ran out of food. What can you do?
Well, I just want to say, don't piss a monkey off, okay? Because what's coming
Okay.
next is a big flying piece of shit, okay? Don't
If
don't
you
piss a monkey
ever
off.
watch a monkey documentary through Disney, you're gonna realize they're all single mothers.
Yes, you
That
will.
is
The
Wait.
saddest thing, but you realize that they're all single mothers.
Okay, now
struggling and
which
trying
can
to,
be cause for
prosper
anger.
their children.
Which can be cause for anger for sure. For sure.
What?
Ouch.
And not to mention, I wonder what would happen. Everybody look up bonobos and wonder what would happen if they did this festival with bonobos instead.
Bonobos.
The most sexually active ape in the world. So,
Ooh.
yes, look up bonobos. They don't have them in zoos for a reason, because every few minutes they're doing something fun. So,
what is this? Silence of the Lambs?
No.
I'm gonna take it this way. Like I watch. Okay, Disney is supposed to be so lighthearted, and you're supposed to have the beautiful happy ending and so forth. And when I watched these documentaries they had on the monkeys, I was like, oh my God, what a sad story about a single mother. Like, why am I watching this? This is so depressing. And let's just say it's a strong monkey coming out at the end, but she comes out single-handedly with no man needed, okay? Like, that was the most woman empowering documentary I needed about a monkey. Like, it was so bad. Like, it was like, oh my God, why am I watching this? This is so bad, but so good at the same time. Like, I realized I didn't need no man after a Disney documentary. I was like, I don't need no man.
So this next one we got is a Christmas tradition in Germany. This is called the Krampus Festival.
Oh yeah.
Now,
good movie.
Krampus is the anti-Santa. And Krampus, the Feast of St. Nicholas, is celebrated in parts of Europe, not even just Germany, on the 6th of December. And it's the preceding, this is the Feast of St. Nicholas. The preceding night, on the 5th, they do Krampus night. The wicked, hairy devil appears on the streets, sometimes accompanied with St. Nicholas. Sometimes Santa and him are together. And they visit homes. And basically, Santa gives out gifts. But if you are a bad child, Krampus gives you coal and other gross things. Now, earlier on in the Krampus myth, what they would tell their children is, you be good or Krampus will come and take you in his basket away to his home where we'll never see you again. Now, it used to horrify children. Now, if you go to one of these festivals, kids are in the audience laughing their ass off and going, put me in the basket. They want to be part of the parade. And if you look at this, there is variations. It's kind of like how the devil got downgraded to be on ham and cake over here in America. So if you look at this, these are all badass costumes, but some of them, they're all ranging in these different depictions of this devil-like creature. And it was supposed to be the devil at first, but then it turned into Krampus, the anti-Santa. Isn't that beautiful?
That name. I love that name.
There is a horror movie about it, too.
Yep,
So.
directed by Michael Dougherty. Amazing movie.
How many more slides do we have? I just looked at the time.
We have just one more, and we're done. So, and this last one, show some sympathy for our pregnant wives. So in China, when a mother gets pregnant, there's a ritual where the men have to carry her on their back over hot coals. And this is to let them participate in some of the pain that will happen over the next 9 months.
Of course, I agree with all of it.
What was that?
I agree with all of
Who
it.
was that?
I think I heard Lauren. No, I don't.
What was that?
No.
Whoa.
Oh, you know, and it's so crazy, you guys.
Yeah, that's not my house.
Most of the time, it's pretty quiet, but I live next to people, so every now and then, so there's probably just a little pickup, and so that's I guess it's just happening because I hear it outside the house. So I'm like, y'all hear that too? Oh my God. Okay.
But yeah.
Perfectly.
So,
they carry their wife on their back, and they have to walk through these hot coals, and then all these people watch going, idiot, you had a kid. That's what they do.
wow.
They're like, haha, I'll be there next year, I think. Oh, wait, no one touches me. So here we go. We're going to exit out of that, and you know what, Stefan? Here, I'm going to hide my screen for a little bit. Let me get something ready.
Okay, because we've got some exciting stuff, you guys. So I'll start. I'm so excited. We have it's a big night in comedy. Let's just say that for the therapy of the absurd. We have a big night in comedy. We have I know that she comes in a great legacy of the great Stan Lathan, who, was creator of Def Jam. But we are about to introduce to some and share with others about Rikki Hughes. So tell me when we have the slideshow ready.
We got it up now. Go for it, Stephanie.
All right, putting it up.
Woohoo! So you guys, just a little bit about Rikki Hughes. Woo! So Rikki Hughes, you guys, is a Emmy award winning and three-time Grammy winning comedy producer. Now, most people, I think, may know her in this huge way because of her work with the very obvious Dave Chappelle. And I can personally say that when Netflix first started doing comedy specials, they were only doing comedy specials with a couple of marquee folks. And Dave Chappelle was kind of one of the first leading the train when, and then Netflix is a joke. And now it's this great home for comedy. But behind every great talent is a great producer. And so let me just say this about Rikki. So since 2018, Rikki has won an Emmy Award and 3 Grammy Awards and has been nominated for 2 NAACP Image Awards, producing Dave Chappelle. And everybody on here has seen all of these specials: The Age of Spin and Deep in the Heart of Texas, Equanimity, The Bird Revelation, and Sticks and Stones. And this year, she and Dave are nominated for a total of 7, my fingers are up, Emmys, which include the last special, which include the Mark Twain Prize, which includes so many things. And so we're just excited about having her on. I have a quick question. Does the slide have any more pictures? Like, I put a couple of things on there.
Oh, yeah. Here she is with couple of those Grammys.
So you guys, to all of our folks that are in here, we put up all of the networks because she also is the showrunner for Hood Adjacent on Comedy Central.
Oh, yeah.
Produced BET Awards and co-produced BET Awards. Recently, you guys, which we're gonna talk about all of it. She is the showrunner producer for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air 30th reunion on HBO Max. Woo! And most of all, her baby, she is founder of Magic Lemonade, a film, television, and management company in Hollywood. So you guys, welcome to the broadcast, Miss Rikki Hughes. Woo!
Oh, well, we had a few other things. There's the Magic Lemonade. Okay, that's the end of it. Yes, go ahead.
That was the last one. Woo!
I'm sorry.
Welcome, Rikki. Thank you.
Hey, Rikki.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Fantastic.
Hi.
Fantastic. So, I guess the question always becomes, which came first, the chicken or the egg? We know that you started in the music business, but when did you make the shift over into, and I also didn't say this, but you guys, Rikki is producers for film festivals, American Black film festivals. There's so much on the resume, comedy festivals, and we just kind of tried to hit the high points. But when did you shift from working and touring in the music business, Priority Records, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Over to I guess maybe your first TV gig or your first live show?
Yeah. So it was, 2001, I left Priority and I started producing and I never looked back.
Wow. Who was the first call you got? What was the first call you got to produce?
The first show I did was a show called Dance 360, and it was with Fredro Starr and Kel Mitchell.
Okay.
And we shot it for Fox. We shot 65 episodes, and I did it with Ralph Farquhar and Carl Craig.
Okay.
And then I was also doing some work with Def Comedy with Stan Lathan.
Okay.
And that was my entry into production.
Wow. One thing I noticed about your resume is that there is a depth to the work you've done in comedy. Was that intentional? Was it because of allying with Stan Lathan and Carl? Carl is so fantastic. We need to have Carl on the broadcast as well at some point. Was it because of the work with, kind of known comedy producers? And I big up Carl Craig, worked with the Wayans brothers, produced for them. So, he's no slouch either. But was it intentional to kind of get into comedy producing?
Not really. It was, for me, it was my entry point. But I had an interesting story. My sorority sister, we were just graduated from college, and before going to grad school, and her name is Robin Latiker Johnson. Now she actually runs development for OWN, but for BET and Sci-Fi, a bunch of other places. But at the time, we had just graduated, and I remember seeing in the Hollywood Reporter, there was a company that said Hat to the Back Productions, and it was Ralph Farquhar and Claude and Claude had started a company.
Mhm.
And we were calling. I said, Robin, I said, I'm going to work with these guys at some point. And she's like, really? I was like, I don't know what it is, but something's going to happen. So then I later got a call from Carl. We've been trying to figure something out because I had great relationships with talents, and we were going to figure out what we were going to do. And then he said, you still producing? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, come meet me here. And he sent me the address. He said, it's 5555 Melrose. And I looked up, and I was at Paramount Pictures, and I was like, this is where I said I was going to do something at Paramount Pictures. And I said I want to work something with these two guys. So I drive through the Paramount gates. I get there, and as soon as I pull up, I see a sign that said Hat to the Back, and it was Ralph Farquhar and Clark Brooks there. And I was like, I had no idea. It was just someone that I saw in the trades, and I was like, I'm going to work with these people. And Carl was the one who just brought me in. He's like, hey guys, this is Rikki. She's a producer. And that was it. I started producing. I was like, I better get my game up.
Wow.
Nice
Wow.
stuff.
Love it.
Oh yeah, congrats, man.
So you're moving along as a producer because you're also getting ready to produce the Trumpet Awards, but like it's like that's such an amazing story of having a vision and then the vision coming to pass, but like then it just kind of spirals, right? Because now you're working with Stan Lathan, like how did you just like did you know a lot about producing comedy? Is there a difference in producing comedy over producing anything else?
No, I was just willing to be of service, and which is what I always tell young people who say they want to be a producer. I say, if you want to be a producer, produce, like, do it, and I did my research. I, figured out what I needed to know, got there and said, I'm willing to be of service. Like, what do I need to do to make this happen? And so right now, like, I didn't have really the same opportunities that kids have now, because now if you have an iPhone, you can shoot, you can edit, you can create your content, you can immediately put it up. You can't tell me right now that there's any barriers or ceilings that's keeping you from getting your content to your audience, for you to create, for you to put your reel together, for you to find someone next to you who'll hold the sound mic, where you can borrow, you can do it on your phone and at least get your proof of concept out. So the second thing I always tell people who say they want to be a producer is I say, hey, who are your favorite producers? What are your favorite TV shows? No one will pass that free labor. If you go and say, hey, Steven Spielberg is my favorite and I want to volunteer, and you hang around his company and you say, look, I'll work for free. I'll be a PA for free. I just want to go get coffee, whatever I need to do to be in the mix. They're gonna, as long as you aren't crazy, they're gonna say, come on.
Right. And like that was kind of the next question. Like, what do you think? There's been so much change in technology. Like, what has that meant for your role as you've moved from one level to the next? Like the command of technology and those changes. What has that meant for your work as a producer?
Well, I stay in it. I came up through physical production. So for me, before I started on the creative side, I had to know the nuts and bolts. So I could tell you every camera, every audio piece of equipment, every board that was run. And I would go on off days and make sure that every time they had a demo, if I wanted to use a camera, I would go to the camera house and make them demo every camera till I figured out the look that I wanted. So, but that's part of just knowing your craft and being a part of it.
Wow. Wow. So you're producing comedy. Did you know Dave Chappelle as a producer before you got the call to start working and collaborating with him? Or was there just this point where that's the phone call you got?
Well, I worked with Dave when we did our last season of Def Comedy. Last. He came in, Stan had just called and said, hey, Rikki, Dave's coming. And I went out and grabbed him. He came by himself. He just pulled up in the car and he was like, I don't know if you're going to want to run tape on any of the stuff I have to say, but someone showed up. I literally got him on stage, and and that was the first time he really told the whole story about when he, took a break and stepped away. And and we just, had a great relationship. So when he decided to make his return to the stage, of course he called Stan. Stan and I actually happened to be in the middle of doing All Def Comedy for HBO at the time. And so we went in and sat down. The crew was very small. There was only 4 of us really that produced the entire show. Stan directed, I produced it. I brought in my assistant, who I made her a coordinator, and my PA, who I made who I moved up to production management, because it had to be, very intimate and secret. And we put together the amazing show that you guys now see, The Age of Spin, which is where our first Grammy came from.
Wow.
Very nice.
Wow. One of the things that I shared with the audience is just like, for me watching you guys, what you did was extraordinarily monumental, but it kind of ushered in this age of comedy for Netflix. There hadn't been, like, they hadn't, up to that point, they weren't known as Netflix as a joke. They weren't known that way. And so did that for you kind of further expand your opportunities, or like as a producer, did it kind of like widen your name even more in the world?
I don't know if that's true. I have the awards, and sometimes they're paperweights and sometimes they aren't. I can't say that it really opened doors. I feel like I still had to step in. Like, it might get you a meeting, but you still have to close that deal. And then also, all of my awards were with Dave and Stan. So, I'm sure there's a question like, can you do it outside of with them? So, that's something I had to step up to the plate with.
Yeah, I had a very wise friend that once told me that every day you have to prove that you earned what you earned. And so you go out there, everything that you have with you, you got to go, well, I guess I got to go get, earn that again, even though I already have it. And it's, as long as you keep that in mind, it keeps you going.
I think the difference for me is I worry about proving it to myself. Like, I really, I'm self-referred on most things. So, I'm less concerned about how someone else thinks. I'm concerned, and probably my harshest critic of myself. So it's a constant battle.
Wow. But I mean, I know you hear, but your work is amazing, and it certainly is meaningful to women everywhere, because you are the first African-American woman to win an Emmy for Outstanding Variety Special, pre-recorded. Like, that hadn't happened before you got that award. And now in 5 or 10 or 15 years, there are now, there will be at that time so many women who know that can be done because of the award you won. And I know it's not like we all have control, and it's not like you step in, but did you launch Magic Lemonade before your work with Dave, or kind of at the same time? Tell us about Magic Lemonade.
2014, I started Magic Lemonade. I already have my own production company, which is Completely 3. And 2014, I was in the middle of doing a bunch of shows for BET. I worked with John Cossette previously before he passed, and was one of the only Black women and showrunners that actually worked with him. And after he passed, and then I helped Jesse Collins build his company, and then I decided to hang out my own shingle and do projects the way I wanted them to be done.
Wow.
Speaking of Magic Lemonade, I'll have some.
Every time you say Magic Lemonade, you guys got to take a drink.
Oh, yeah. Let's start that now. Go for it.
I got water.
Where's my drink?
I got water. So, interestingly enough, like one of the things that was exciting and that I kind of saw happening was that you signed Emmanuel Hudson. And I want to dial back for everybody that's in here. There's a few. I see some of my friends. I want to acknowledge everybody in the chat. Thank you guys in the comments. Thank you everybody who's watching and asking questions. I want to say I should get a shout out to my friend Tiffany Jameson, who is the first time to the broadcast. But just so everybody knows, John Cossette, producer of Grammys. Yes, Rikki, I don't want to get that wrong. Grammys. And Jesse Collins, producer of the
awards. John started off. John's father, Pierre Cossette, was he created the Grammys. And so John came up through physical production, and he had the Grammy years. And, you know, to John's credit, John did BET Awards. And at that point, it was the Comedy Awards. And, you know, he did a lot of the shows. And, you know, a lot of his, you know, white counterparts are like, why are you doing those black shows? Like, they didn't get it, but John got it. He understood. He always made sure that, you know, we were there, we were present, we were front and center. He understood, if you're taking all this money from BET, you better, you know, have some representation there. And, you know, I always give it up to him. He also was the kind of producer who knew everyone on set. Like, he knew, you know, from the PAs to the gaffers, he didn't just walk in as, you know, the head of the company. Like, he really gave a damn. And, you know, I definitely learned a lot from and working with John.
Rikki, I have to ask you, and this is outside the questions that we had planned out for you, but with everything going on, do you think 2020 is a big year in reference to representing people of color so far? Do you think we have a chance, and what we can do with our voice now that it's a little louder with everything going on? What is your perspective in reference to it?
I don't, you know, to all, you know, all respect to, you know, the lives that we lost to COVID. And I know it's been tough for a lot of people. But 2020 has been an amazing year for me. I have to be honest. You know, it's been a growing year. It's been a time where, you know, especially for Black women, there are a lot of doors that are open. I think it's important that once we get those doors open, that we kick them open, that we create some damn good projects while we get in there. So when the door does close, you're already inside and you've already figured out how to really, you know, let people know that you're there for keeps, and not just to, and not because someone cracked a door open, but because you kicked it open and did some great work while you're inside.
Wow.
I love that. Yeah.
Thank you for that word, because it's been Tabitha Brown, who's actress, said something very powerful on Instagram. And the other night she was talking about her mom and her mom's death to Lou Gehrig's disease. But she said, God trusted us with 2020. And so whether you believe in, you know, God by that name or anything, we've been trusted with still an opportunity and a block of time in which to do great things. I was excited, though, just shifting a little bit to Emmanuel Hudson. I know you've had him on your roster for a while, but I just want to tell you a funny story. Like, my son is a teenager, and I still remember the day he came in and he's like, watch these guys. So he showed us on YouTube, Emmanuel and Lantbo, you know, doing their YouTube stuff. And then the next thing, you know, and they were hypnotic, absolutely hilarious, like polished and ready. Like, I think, and honestly, I feel like those two, amongst, you know, other influencers of the time, they were like part influencer, full on comedy people, like creating a space coming from, like, they weren't coming from TV. They weren't in this system. How did you get turned on to Emmanuel Hudson? And then what made you sign him to Magic Lemonade?
Well, I worked with, when the guys were in a troupe, even back in the Vine days, you know, I lived in Atlanta. And you know, when I saw them, I knew that there was something really special about them. I had, you know, these two young Black kids in Atlanta who had the sensibilities and the, you know, comedy chops of The Office. And, you know, you don't really have, you know, those kind of worlds coming together. And I always felt like it was special. At that point, it was Emmanuel, it was DC Young Fly, it was, you know, like all those guys were, you know, all worked with to help them transition to, you know, move to the mainstream, but on their own terms. So for all of them, it's been, you know, for me, a real special journey, and I feel proud of those guys. And I, you know, I believe in them. And in a way, in a place where, you know, a lot of times Hollywood, at that point in time, Hollywood really wanted us to go get influencers and put them on the show and think that they're, you know, 4 million or 5 million followers are going to start watching the show. Well, no, that's not how it works. So what happened is you would take them as a fish out of water and put them into a whole nother medium and then be upset when they didn't succeed. So I just stopped. So I started bringing people to Atlanta. So I brought Carl, I brought Stan, I brought my agent at the time. I said, you guys come into their world. And I realized then where my kids were watching they didn't care about the $300 a month cable I was paying for. What they would watch is on their iPad and on their phone. And for them, that's what reality TV was the social media influencers. But what we thought was reality TV for them was scripted because they're like, Mom, they walked in, they already had a mic on. When they opened the door, they had, so I started to realize that, oh, I got to bring Hollywood to you guys as opposed to trying to fit these guys into the mold. And so what we did there was something really phenomenal, because even if you look at like what's happened with 85 South, with DC and Carlos and Chico, even that was about when we first got out there, Hollywood wasn't checking for us. They didn't get it. They didn't care. They're like, I don't get this podcast. I don't get these guys. I don't get, they didn't get any of it. It was like, okay, bet, we got you. So, they're the point of, their own authentic audience. The fans are rabid. Once we started selling out all over theaters, and they were like, wait, hold on, Rikki, the guys, remember the guys you were talking about? I was like, no, it's on our own terms now. We don't need you. We don't need you for distribution. We don't need you to book tours. We don't need an agent. We don't need a manager. Like, we're doing it. And when we show up, all of the fans show up. They stand outside. We don't have an opening act. Walk in. They stay all the way until we tell them that we're done. And because the show is never the same, because it's not a routine, it's not a stick, that if we came back to the same city the next week, they would come again because it's always a different show.
Wow.
Nice.
So that authentic,
Rikki, are you still doing this with TikTok? Because you mentioned Vine, and Vine was actually discontinued a couple of years ago for our viewers. But are you still doing this in reference to TikTok? Are you still scouting people?
Well, I'm always looking for, a new, fresh voice and a great POV. My guys are more on Instagram and, more than even TikTok. Most of them aren't really TikTokers because they're getting moved into, like, they're all doing stand-up comedy, and, they're kind of moving into a little bit of a different space. Not that they're anti-TikTok, but their major platforms,
Right.
Twitter and Instagram.
Now, we did have a question from someone in our audience, Anthony Virrell, and I wonder if you know about this. He was going to ask, what would you say about going about doing good sound design for shows? When you produce, have you been part of the sound setup for these shows as well?
I do everything from top to bottom.
Awesome.
From the first idea, the concept of the show, all the way till we deliver it to whatever platform we're on or network. So I hire every single person, that's on the crew.
And when you do something like the and I'm gonna have to remind myself the Def Comedy Jam, Healing Through Laughter.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell people, when it comes to sound, how many microphones you have going on throughout the area?
Well, actually, Royale, we did that together. Well, it depended on different points in time. Most of that was done over Zoom.
Okay.
We did that.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Well, is it because that's the one we did with Royale? That was Healing Through Laughter with Cedric the Entertainer.
Oh.
But and actually he worked on Def Comedy with me too.
Yep.
All Def Digital, All Def Comedy. Yeah, that's what it's called. HBO show. Royale worked on that with us as well. And with that one, that's different because we had a live audience. So with that show, Mike Abbott is my sound engineer for that. And we had a cajillion mics because we believe in miking the audience. We don't use cam ever. We always use authentic laughs from the audience. And if you don't get the joke, if you don't get the laughs as a comic, we're not going to give it to you in post.
Mm.
we earn those laughs because we're kind of comedy purists around here.
Nice. Yeah, he was wondering that, and I've also wondered that too, like just to pick up the performer themselves. You see a microphone here, but there's probably other microphones around the area.
There are mics on the stage. Like I said, we mic the audience. It's funny, when we got ready to do The Age of Spin, I remember at sound check, Dave came out and he walked down the stage. He said, "Just my audio?" We're like, "Yeah." He's like, fucking sounds amazing. And that was Mike Abbott, and we've been working with Mike. He's done every single one of our shows. In fact, he was just nominated for an Emmy as well, for audio engineer.
Okay.
Very nice.
Now, in reference to your relationship with Royale, it always begs to differ. Do you relationships in this industry, like, do you have to make a big impression in order to build relationships in order for future projects? Like, it sounds like you guys have known each other for quite some time. Is it best to build relationships in some way?
I mean, I think always, but to me, I don't care about making a great impression. I care about being authentic, and I think that makes the impression that, like, I've known Royale for many years. I knew Royale when he was doing stand-up early on. But I'm consider myself good people, and I'm around good people. And when you find people that are part of your tribe, I just keep them close.
Well, I feel like you're introducing Royale. We have Royale here, so we're just really excited.
We're gonna
bring him on in. And
hello. How you doing?
I wanted to do so. Welcome, Royale, and just oh my God! But I wanted to do like 3 rapid fire questions before we jump into this other conversation with Rikki.
I gotta say hi to Rikki first before we.
Hey, Royale.
That's my sister right there. What up, Rikki?
So we'll kick you out.
Right. All right, and Royale, you're saying rapid fire. But Rick, who is your favorite comedian? Like rapid fire, like if you have to name a top 3, we understand. But who are your favorite?
Alive or
alive or dead? Or
dead
alive
or alive?
Dead or alive?
Fictitious is okay also. Fictitious is okay.
I'm a big Robin Harris fan.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
You going with 1 or you going with 3, Rikki?
Oh, I get 3.
You get 3. You get 3. I figure 1 might be too hard. That might be,
No. I'm taking Robin Harris. I'm taking for sure Richard Pryor.
Ooh.
Okay.
And I think Dave.
Ooh.
All right. Which leads us to the next one. Funniest moment between you and Dave that you feel comfortable sharing, like whatever you like to share. Like, is there something you could say that was so, like, the funny story that you'll tell your own grandchildren about, working with Dave?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm telling my grandkids some of the stuff, but let me get a little.
Go for it. They'll be able to take it by that generation. It's fine.
No, I mean, look, Dave is funny, but more than anything, he's smart. But the funny thing, yesterday he walked off stage, and I was speaking to Donnell, and I said, I can't see it. This font is so small. He turned around. He's like, Rikki, that's utter bullshit. No way. He's like, you have the largest font I've seen that from across the room. So he's always talking about my font on my phone. So that's the last time where I just had to laugh. And be like, here we go. But working around comedians, I'm always the butt of the jokes. So it's fun.
And is there anybody that you've worked with everybody in, in all these great capacities? Is there anybody that you fangirl out to? Is there somebody that you're like, I'm just a fan of that person?
Let's see. Other than Steven and Dan,
Yeah. We on fire, man. Whack this side.
Because I feel like, when I meet people or get to work with them, sometimes it's just the veil is pulled back and I'm like, darn it.
Yeah. Oh no, you're a flat earther. Shit.
I'm done.
I feel like I meet them and I work with the ones I really like. I just continue to work with them.
Wow.
Very nice.
We want to somehow squeeze it in, like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion, but I wanted, so we've got this other thing, because Royale, I'm so happy you're here. And Rikki actually introduced you. We had a big package planned for you, but like Rikki just talking.
Listen, I'm sitting in the waiting room listening to Rikki's interview going, you can leave me in here. I'll just, sit back and continue listening. Sitting down here writing, taking notes like, oh yeah, that's right. We did work on that together. Oh, that's right. Rikki put some money in my pocket.
Yeah, I always call Royale. I call.
I keep chasing Rikki because
Okay.
I know if I
Okay.
work with Rikki, I'm gonna make some money.
Booked and busy these days. I called him. I was like, "Yo, I got this Michelle Obama show. What's up, Royale?" He's like, "Nah, I can't fool with you, Rikki. I got too much work." I was like, "Oh, no problem."
All right, so tell us that's the last. This is it. So before we talk about Zoom for comedians and brand building, when you got the call for Fresh Prince, like were you excited or just like, this is another good gig? Like, what were your thoughts?
No, I mean, I was excited. You know, I'd known the guys over at Westbrook for a while. We had been trying to figure out what project we were going to do. So it was great that, you know, that this was the one that came along. And I take a lot of responsibility. Look, I was a fan of the show more than anything, but a show that can still take the test of time at 30 years later. I mean, there's something really special to that. And I take, you know, a lot of care. And, you know, Will and I had some real conversations about how to approach it and, you know, what was important. And, you know, all of those things are, I mean, I don't take lightly. So, and I've had a great time with it. It's one of my favorite shows.
Wow.
I have a very important question. Okay. This one has been bugging me and the Shade Room. Okay. Like I've been looking at the Shade Room comments. How did you get the original and Viv back? How?
You got to watch the show.
Not giving up anything. I love it. Like, because the world is talking about that part.
It's good. And it took some producing. It took some producing, but it's what we do.
That's the magic in the lemonade.
That's
right.
magic.
Oh, you said it. I'm sorry.
Oh no, wait, yeah, you said lemonade.
Every time you say
lemonade.
magic lemonade, we got to take a drink. Okay.
You said it too.
Right.
My drink is
Oh
over
man,
there.
my bladder's gonna burst.
I'm gonna run out of beer. Dang
My
it.
magic lemonade is water. So
Yeah, it's better than Donald Trump's magic lemonade. I tell you that. So
We're not going there. We're not going there.
that's all I said. I didn't show the tape.
so
I have it.
for all of us who are in comedy, whether it's some of the four of us as a panel, like you guys are obviously producing here and we're all trying to grow to here, but what is the advice you have for, you know, any of us, and I say us like wide, because there's so many people that are watching on YouTube, on Periscope, on Facebook Live, you know, what do you say to comedians who are like, we want to grow in the age of COVID when it's all Zoom shows? And anybody can start.
I mean, I would just say have a clear point of view and your authentic voice and be who you are. Don't try to be someone else. Please don't come to someone else's routine or someone else's cadence or like just stand out by being yourself. Because that's for me, that's what works. Like when I see you, someone, and I see you doing Eddie Murphy jokes, Eddie Murphy routine, like I'm over it. I'm over it.
I'm gonna have to throw away my props that I got from Carrot Top. Shit.
I'm laughing because I have seen this. Like I've seen people do like acts from Delirious, and I'm like, do you really think we won't catch that? I know I'm not as old, but still, like, did you not think that this is in a classic that we won't catch this? Like, what's wrong with you?
I changed 2 words.
It happens all the time. And, you know, another thing is, you like, we cast between Royale and I, we travel the country, you know, especially before COVID, and you cast for a lot of shows. So you see everyone's routine from the really small clubs to some of the bigger clubs. And so we see when we're like, yep, that's so-and-so's routine. Yep, that's it. Like, we know it. And they think they can get away with it in the back alley of Diane Corder's room or something in Chicago. And it's like, we still know what it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Royale, what about you? Like Royale, and we're going to talk about it more, but like Royale, you started doing the mixtape comedy show, but you had this amazing career before that, just as a stand-up yourself, actor, pilot on TV work. What is your advice to, you know, comics coming up, and particularly in COVID, and how to prepare for, you know, continuing to launch once out of COVID?
I would strongly suggest 2 things. I think the first part of your question, I think, was framed from the production side, and I kind of default to what Rikki was suggesting earlier, which was be of service, right? I think one of the things that I kind of focus on is finding a space where something is missing. It's always try to fill a gap. It's like I look at productions and at all of these kind of larger comedy opportunities and ask the question, what's missing and what can I provide? And the thing that I think I do very well is use my relationships to help fill, you know what I mean? To help like kind of as a part of the mixture of the stuff that I put together is like, who are the people that I can get on the phone fastest that can help me put this together so I can move it across the finish line. And the second thing, just in terms of, because again, I kind of, you know, swing between the producing of comedy and performing still. As a performer, you know, again, I go back to what Rikki has suggested, like find your authentic voice, right? Because at the end of the day, the thing that's going to help you sell who you are fastest is identifying what your thing is and tapping into your authentic voice and how you respond to these things, as opposed to, again, how Eddie Murphy or how seeing yourself through the eyes of another comic is never going to help you grow as an artist.
Yeah, I feel that you know, Gilbert Godfrey and Bobcat Goldthwait and gosh, I forget his name. Was it Jaleel White who did Urkel? They were all probably not using their most authentic voice, but it was definitely theirs, and it was funny as hell.
Yeah, a lot of those guys did character work that, you know what I mean? There's so many different approaches and so many different styles. Like it's almost like martial arts in a way, because again, you know, there's just been styles of comedy and you know, Dave's a storyteller. You have Jay Farrell, who's an impressionist. You know, so many different ways to get into this thing. And so the only way that you're going to find out what you are is by, you know, reps, getting on stage, you know, bombing, you know, which is, I think is always the healthiest. No, I really mean that.
Yeah,
like, you know, just finding the value in not doing well. I remember I used to watch Damon Wayans is easily hands down one of my favorite comics. And the thing that I used to watch Damon do was just walk into the improv on a Sunday. He would start on Sundays and it was just words and gibberish and thoughts from his head. He was work his way through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and by Thursday, Friday, he would actually have like formulated sets that made sense and had come together. You just, again, as a comic sitting in the back of the room, you know, it helped me a lot to go, you don't have to start off with the whole thing figured out. Nobody, you know, there's very few comics that are that good. Right.
Yeah, I mean, it does remind me of something I tell my kids, don't be afraid to fail, because if you're really trying, you're going to fail a lot. But when you win, it's awesome.
Okay, I am going to ask now because I was criticized for this by an acting teacher that I had. Do you think character work is still blooming, or do you think it's something that's completely dead and we have to be completely authentic in order to sell ourselves as stand-up comedians? How do you both feel in reference to that?
I think there are still, you know, some character work. I just personally don't necessarily gravitate to it all the time. But that's not to say that it's not, you know, that people aren't successful with it. You know, and I think, you know, like Royale says, comedy comes in so many different forms. You have physical comics, you know, people just have their, you know, their different strides. And I think even if you're doing character work, like it should just be you. It should just be something that you're committed to.
Right. That's actually, I feel we were talking about Zach Galifianakis earlier. He's pretty much a character actor. And when he does Between Two Ferns, that's not maybe the way he is all the time. It's an act, but it's uniquely his. There's no one else that does exactly what he's doing. The same with I was trying to think of it, but I forgot it now. But actors like that basically they show this character. It is who they are, but it's this distortion of it, kind of like what Stephen Colbert was doing for such a long time on the Colbert Report, right?
Yeah, listen, I think that any consideration for what anybody else's think outside of what you feel you can authentically bring to your career, right, to me doesn't hold a lot of weight. You have to ask yourself, what is it that you're excited about waking up to every morning and practicing and working on that you're going to work on being able to present to those people that are going to hire you, and feel good about doing it, whether it works immediately or not, right? Because again, just as it relates to stand-up itself, I don't care about bomb on Thursday night. I'm still gonna wake up Friday morning and go, look, I gotta get right back to this thing and figure out right the value of what wasn't working the night before. So I'm not considering what somebody in the audience thought or what a casting director or even a director or another producer thinks. I have to 100% be able to rely on the thing that I have signed on to bring to the stage for myself and myself only. If somebody else finds value in it, that's great for them.
I just want to say what's a really a great example of an authentic voice. If you have ever watched Royale and April on After I Do, like, when I tell you, like,
I actually thought you was gonna say somebody that like Corey Holcomb or you know what I mean. Like, wait a minute, I was leaning in to go, who is Rikki about to say?
Because you don't understand how much. So I love Royale and April, and it is authentically them. I've been around them for years, and our kids gone to college together, and all this stuff. But between those two, and then Gerald Haddon and his wife, like when you see just couples and you're like they've been together for years, and this is just what it is, and you're getting a sneak peek into it. It's like, to me, that's authenticity right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think that the luxury that we have is that it's not attached to any desire to sell anything, or you know what I mean. It's like we're just sharing like our journey because it's fun for us to share it, and so when we turn the camera on, it's not scripted or anything. It was just an extension of the relationship that is happening before the camera turns on. So I appreciate that,
to clarify,
it's chaos as well. It's a lot of.
Just to clarify for our viewers, you are a real couple, right?
As far as the kids are real.
Like,
yes.
Real couple. It's not scripted.
Not at all. Yeah, like they're
trust me,
they're hilarious.
You can't script this shit that I go through.
That's them all the time.
I was about to say they are.
Oh my
Make
God.
the bed now.
So we have actually plenty. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's a very real, authentic relationship and marriage and journey, which I like the mostly. It really is a journey of not just myself and my wife, but my children and friends, and it's more than just us, the two of us. It really is a mix of a lot of people that inspire us, that influence us, that have supported us. Because again, the camera is just a device, right? And it's secondary to our authentic desire to kind of move forward and grow into something that ultimately we don't know where the ending is going to be. And that's the thing that's kind of exciting. We don't know what the end is yet.
Quick question. Where can people, like, because I mean, I know I catch it, and then I also just kind of watch April on Instagram. Like, I'm just like, wherever you guys are showing up, I just try to, plug in. If somebody that's watching wanted to check out After I Do, where do they go to kind of plug into you guys?
So if they go to our Facebook page, it's probably our Facebook and our YouTube, and everything is under After I Do or After I Do TV. But if they just, do a Google search of After I Do, it'll populate some kind of way, and just enjoy the chaos is all I can say.
Right. The Diary of a Husband posts on Twitter are hilarious. Diary of a Husband.
Oh, my Diary of a Husband stuff is. Can people see that? I didn't know people could see that. I thought I was
on Twitter.
Yeah, just writing it into the
ether. Diary.
Oh, I thought you know what? Private. I just started putting those up on Twitter. They're mostly on the catalog is on Facebook.
Okay.
So the real stuff is on Facebook. And somebody recently suggested that I start putting them up on Twitter. The challenge is the characters on Twitter, they don't allow but so many characters. So
yeah, well, that kind of helps. Like those Facebook posts that say use 3 words to describe this picture. It's actually a fun exercise. There's something I definitely have to ask, because we actually have a lot of comedians and artists in the audience right now. And I think a lot of them struggle like we have. how would someone new to this promote themselves in a way that maybe just the average person can promote themselves without, we don't have a lot of
Capital?
we don't capital's a word for it, or we don't have the clout yet. Yes. Do you know of any tips to get people to get themselves known and get out there?
Be funny.
You gotta
Well,
have that.
but you could do that alone in a room, and
That
no one will hear
part.
you. So what? Is there any promotion tips that you could give to any of the artists in the audience today?
I mean, look, I represent a lot of people that use social media as a huge platform for themselves, but they also will get up. I mean, when DC first started, he was like, I want to do stand up. I was like, well, look, you better show up at those clubs, stand in the back of the room, watch the people who you absolutely love. You need to bomb a couple times. You need to learn how to take the mic and move it to the side of the stage. When you get on the stage, I need you to sit around Rodney Perry. I need you to sit around these different people that are comics and learn your craft. And
Rikki,
Wow.
I hate to interrupt, but I have to ask because you mentioned it before. So you mentioned Vine, but is that it? Is TikTok and building a platform the newest thing for you to get, for people to notice you? Is that it? Social media, Instagram, having a lot of followers, having a lot of views, is that the new way to get recognized now?
It is. I can't even lie. I mean, look, I'm a comedy purist, so I still like to see people live on stage. Right now, you don't have a lot of people live on stage because of COVID, but you do have people with those devices in their hand every day, all day, and it's a platform. It's a way of promotion.
If only I could see it without all the political posts at the same time.
Yeah, but you know
gosh.
what? Again, I think
Get out!
to Ricky's point, the real currency in comedy marketing comes from being funny. Because if you're on stage and being funny, guess what? All of the work that you can't do is going to be done by other people who want to share what you're doing, right? If you think about somebody like Spice Adams or even DC Young Fly, or there's a couple other influencers that are in the stand-up space. Desi Banks is somebody that comes to mind, right? There's so many people that sharing those influence and those comics posts. They don't have to Country Wayne. Those people are naturally sharing their post for them. They don't have to spend money or stay up late at night. If you put out something that's funny, other people will go to work on your behalf because they believe in what you're doing.
It's really crazy because as a stand-up comedian, your biggest fear is posting stuff online and being feared of any type of plagiarism and having another comic steal your content. But now I feel like you have to take that risk. You have to take that risk in order for you to get recognized. It's a scary type of thing, but do you feel like it's worth the risk, posting your stuff online in order for you to get...
If your attention is on somebody plagiarizing your material, then you're not creating enough material. You're space. It's like, what do you? I'm not saying this about you specifically. I'm just saying in general.
That's a great.
Being honest, it's like, and the second thing is, if you're writing material that is so not close to who you are, that somebody, I'm one of 14 children, right? How many comics can go on stage and do a bit about one of 14 children, right? Outside of a Wayans, maybe, but there's not a lot of people that can go on stage and authentically say, I grew up with 14. That'll be a lie. So I have to write stuff that is so specific to my life that nobody else can do it.
Yep.
I mean, there could be some people in Utah that grew up with 14 children.
That's powerful. So we want to do a couple of things. We want to honor the time, but we want to kind of go over that list of kind of tips. I think that, we're talking about the artists want to know. So number one, be funny. Like, I think to anybody who's watching, we just want to reiterate that to the four of us who are, who are doing it, hitting these Zoom stages. be funny.
Note to self: start being funny. Okay.
Yeah, note to self, be funny. You know,
But you know what, Dana? Before you move on, can I adjust that just a little bit? Like,
yes.
there are a lot of people that are making money in entertainment and stand up to me that aren't necessarily funny.
Yes.
But the thing that they've tapped into is their authentic voice.
Yep.
And, you know, I've watched a lot of people on stage that go, this isn't funny, but they've captured something that's interesting to people that's authentically their own. So, yes, I get the be funny part because it's comedy, but I think that start off finding your authentic voice, because if you build on the foundation of something that's authentically yours, when you get to funny, then nobody else will be able to duplicate what you do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I agree
like
with that
that,
110%.
Well, the other thing about, I know you mentioned about, you know, being fearful of stealing material. I've seen some commentators like, man, they stole my joke. And then they have other people like, you know, I read Carlos Miller. Carlos could do 3 hours and never repeat a joke.
Wow.
And can go up and do a night after night and still never do the same joke.
That's amazing.
And so, you know, it's build your catalog, like observe the world around you. Like,
Wow.
I think that's a strong lesson we all have to learn. It's not be fearful and have enough material in order to not fear that. It's
That's a lot of
crazy,
pressure to
though.
get out more.
Yes, it's like we have to make sure that we have so much material.
Well,
but
that's the
I think
the
this is
thing.
a big wake up call.
Because remember what Leslie said. If other people, what was the? She has a really, one of our teachers, me and Stacy has a very brutal saying. Do you remember what it is? I suck at saying it, so.
I'm the worst person to go
No,
ahead and
okay.
respond that
Well,
because
You guys
I
are like,
have
you guys are the
vodka.
worst students in the world. Neither one of you is paying
Yes, I
attention to
am.
remember what somebody was teaching you.
That's hilarious. Well, but I think there for everybody, and I'm here to punctuate. I think there's just something very powerful that you just said, Royale, that if you're worried about somebody stealing your jokes, then you're really worried about I believe you said just really the wrong thing.
Well, your attention is in the wrong place, right?
Okay.
Create art. Stay focused on creating art. Like, you can't drive your art forward if you're constantly looking in the rearview mirror.
Whew, very powerful.
Create art, put it in the universe,
definitely.
and how it gets used is not up to you.
I think I remember what she said. It was something along the lines of somebody else can perform.
Now, how can you?
Oh, sorry.
Something along the lines. Either you remember. Or
Oh, okay.
what the fuck is going on?
To paraphrase, you have to
something along the lines of.
Okay,
Why are you
well,
putting me on the spot?
No. She said if someone else can perform your material, it's not your material.
Okay,
Yeah.
you stumbled into the right version of the shit. That was by accident.
I stumble a lot. I'm sorry.
All right, you guys, we want to just be honor the time. Rikki, like, you have been with us. I know what time it is where you are. We are so grateful. Like, if you want to hang on, we're going to ask Royale a few more questions and play a beautiful slideshow for him. But we want to, like, I'm so.
I love how Dana says that. We're going to honor the time, but we're going to honor this. Like, she
bye.
wanted
nerd to the end.
Oh, what did you say, Rikki?
I said I've been kicked out of better places.
You're not kicked out. You're not kicked out.
No. If you want to stay, you can stay.
Yes, please.
We want to keep
I want you to say it one more time. Say it one more time, though, please.
Look, Magic Lemonade
Oh, thank you.
is going to leave the building. This is
It's
what
like
I
an
always tell
awkward
my
Tinder
comics.
date.
I always say, listen, always leave with them wanting more. Know when to throw your hand up and say thank you, good night.
That is exactly my Tinder date.
Thank you and good night. Royale,
be like,
you have the floor.
Stacy, hold on. All right. Rikki, thank you for being with us. Everybody,
Thank you very much.
All your questions for Rikki. And you guys, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, November the what, Rikki? When is the air date?
We haven't given the air date yet, but it'll be on HBO Max. It'll be around Thanksgiving. I gotta go watch the show now.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Something to have with turkey.
Light flex. I gotta go prep the show. Light flex.
Tell Dave we
Always
said
working.
hello.
Oh, light flex. I love
Light
it.
flex.
I'll talk to you later, Royale.
All right, Rikki.
Bye-bye.
I can only do a light flex anymore.
All right, so Royale, and I am a nerd to the very end. I'm a nerd. I'm a Toastmaster and a nerd, and so yeah, I'm honoring the time. But I
I'll
did
drink to that.
I did put together a lovely slideshow for you. I'd like to show the people.
For me?
All right.
Yes.
Okay,
We
we're
have
gonna
to.
put that
I got to do it. Even though you've come in and done all this work. So
Prepare to be embarrassed.
okay. Shush. So you guys on the broadcast right now coming up, we just had an amazing conversation with two of the biggest comedy producers in the business right now. Now we're going to talk a little bit more to Royale Watkins. You guys, this guy, a career that spans about 25 years, has worked
30 plus now.
30 plus.
Yeah.
30 plus. I don't know how people, feel about
Look,
it.
you see all of this gray hair? This is 30 plus years of this business now. I can't even.
Beautiful hair. Beautiful hair.
That is inspiring.
So Royale, you guys, to all of our watchers, listeners, viewers, Royale has done stand-up, done television, done live production. In the days of the early shift in technology, he began a phenomenon called mixtape comedy in New York at Gotham, trying to stream on Ustream. I remember that from the beginning. Royale, and to also being a director, co-director on Comedy Central, on Centric TV, just so many. Like I could read the list here. It's just a long list. Like Kevin Hart's Halftime House Party, Cedric the Entertainer, Live from the Ville, The Game Dating, All Def Comedy Presents, Robert Powell, Tyree Elaine, Gerald Kelly. Like we could go on and on. Little Rel Howery, Relevant. Centric comedy. It goes and it goes and it goes. And even now, you guys, as we prepared for this show, I'm trying to get pictures from Rikki, and he's like, I'm in a writer's room. I cannot text right now. So light flex and still hard at work. So
here's a writer's room photo, right? Right, Royale? This is writer's room.
That's my primary writer's room right there in my living room.
Yeah.
Is that your brooding? Is that the way you brood?
Oh,
You're
wrong
just
thing.
okay. Oh, that's we don't need that one.
That's a new show. Yeah, the wrong slide.
I'm sorry. I was showing parts of my computer that are incognito. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No.
All right. So, take that out.
Again, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for coming in and hanging with us and Rikki and talking to all the folks on the air. So I got questions that I'm sure some people have heard answers to before, but like Royale, just truth be told, when did you decide you wanted to be a comic? How did you get started?
Look, I think that very early on, being one of the two middle children in a family of 14, one of the things that I was starved for was attention, right? And so I think it started in school where I was like, all right, if I act out in my home, it's going to be problematic. And so if I act out in school, which is, the normal route of being a class clown, it's going to be less problematic. And as early as the second grade, I remember just being the class clown, myself and another guy named Richard Guy. And, we had this thing called the circus parade. And my second grade teacher told us if we did not cut up in class, she would allow us to be the clowns in the circus parade. And the circus parade, which was just as all of these kids dressed up as zoo animals or whatever we were, our class we had a parade going through other classes in our elementary school. And me and my buddy Richard Guy were the clowns. And so we just got to be as funny as we needed to be, right? And early on, I just paid more attention to the responses that we got and how, like, laughter was such a powerful thing to be able to share with people. And as I rose through the school ranks, I continued to use school as the place where I kind of worked on that. And from middle school to high school, all the way up through college, I just remember being focused on comedy. And in college, I had a buddy, Aldine Pearson, who was he was working on becoming a professional comic. And so he was much more polished at what he was doing. But we would rag on each other in this game room. We would sit around and play cards, during the lunch breaks or whatever. And we would rag or snap or joan on each other. And I watched him take these same jokes that we used at the table, and he hosted our homecoming comedy show or one of the events that we had. And afterwards, I talked to him and found out that he got paid a substantial amount of money for hosting that show and using that same material. I think he made like $1,500. And this was years ago. And so it just the amount of money that he made for that one event as a college student just like really made it click for me that, oh shit, people actually get paid for this for real. And so I actually happened to be in college with a young lady who, Tony Woods, I mean, if you know Dave Chappelle, then if you watch the Mark Twain Awards, you'll understand the importance of Tony Wood in Dave Chappelle's life and DC comedy. So I'm a DC comic, right? Dave probably started a year or two before I did. But Tony Woods is the person that influenced a whole gang of us in DC. And his girlfriend at the time just happened to be in my chemistry class. And so she said, you're interested in stand-up comedy, you should meet my boyfriend. And I was like, who's your boyfriend? She said, Tony Woods. I was like, oh my God, okay, cool. She introduced me. He put me on stage the first time and started mentoring me early. And that was kind of my point of entry into stand-up comedy, like from college, like into that first steps into doing it professionally.
Got it. So then what brought you, how did you get to LA? How did you get out here?
So from DC, I started going up to New York because David transitioned up to New York. There was a couple of us who, like I said, were a few years older than him and was chaperoning him up when he had to go up because he was too young to go by himself. And so because of that, you started getting these small exposures to New York stand-up. And, New York was the Mecca. That's where you wanted to be even before, because LA was about being in film and television. But New York was about becoming a real stand-up comic. So moved up to New York first because I had auditioned for Def Comedy Jam and gotten Def Jam and performed on Def Jam and kind of, hit a gusher and got a whole lot of attention real quickly, got on tour and then went out and toured with Def Comedy Jam for a year and a half, 2 years, the original Def Comedy Jam tour. So Bernie Mac, Bill Bellamy, Adele Givens, Joe Torre, Reggie McFadden, and Kid Capri. And so because of that tour, it kind of fast tracked me. I moved up to New York. I moved into Reggie McFadden's apartment in Brooklyn because he was transitioning out to LA. So spent some time in New York. And then eventually I was like, all right, well, the next step is to move out to LA next. And actually moved in with Reggie McFadden for the first year that I was here. Got a deal with NBC when I went up to the Montreal Comedy Festival for my sitcom, which was short-lived. But all of those pieces kind of moved together really seamlessly for me.
Gosh.
Wow. Wait, how old was Dave Chappelle, since you say you chaperoned him? How old was he?
He was 16 at the time.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And you guys were like
15, 16, starting to transition up to New York. And I was 17, 18, probably 18. I think I'm like maybe 2.5 years older than Dave, something like that. So, but he was younger.
He was younger. Wow. Wow. So you have built a portfolio, not only as a stand-up, but then you transitioned into producing. But tell us, I think there are people on here, and I know for some of us, writing, like how do you balance? Because I know you still perform. Yes,
I still perform. So my journey has been stand-up comedy first, actor. Again, I've done enough work acting my own sitcom, Speed 2, Delivers from Eva, My Girlfriend's Back, right? I've done enough acting work, but the acting work slowed down for me. And the reality of here's a lot of the acting slowed down for me because when my youngest son was born, he was born on the autism spectrum. And so my wife and I, right, shifted all of our attention to making sure he had the resources he needed to blossom into the young man that he is today, which is a sophomore at Hampton University who speaks 2 languages and is just kind of pushed beyond all of the challenges of autism, right? He actually does stand up as well. So we were working on a joke a couple of days ago about him being autism.
That's dope.
He's what, and so for me at the time, I just wasn't even concerned about or even focused on the business period, let alone acting. And so things had slowed down for me, right? When we shifted on making sure he had the support that he needed, things slowed down. And if you're in this business and you're busy and you step away from it for a second and you look up, the business will be 10 feet down the road, right? And if you look down again, and you'll think it's 10 feet, now it's 20 feet. And so in that regard, I had to go, all right, well, what can I do to bring value to the business enough that I can get back into it some kind of way? And for me, it was like, all right, I'm still doing stand-up, but I also have enough value in what I'm doing on stage in terms of the stories that I'm telling, that Dwayne Martin at the time was on All of Us, Will and Jada's show. And the blended family dynamic that I was living through and talking about on stage matched the storylines that they were doing on the show. And Dwayne was like, hey, can you come over here on the show and help punch up some stuff and get in the writer's room to help us with some of these stories to bring something that's authentic and real to the show. And so that became my point of entry in terms of writing for television. And then when I started writing for television, it just was like, all right, this is another incredible tool that I can add to my toolbox, because at the end of the day, my personal thing is, or my big thing is, right, I consider myself more a Swiss Army knife in the comedy space than anything else. Is like, if somebody says, this is what I need done, I don't want to be the guy in the room that says, oh, well, I can't work because I only do stand-up. I'm a purist. It's like, no, I do way more than stand-up, right? I write, I produce, I direct. And if I can't do it, then I'm going to figure out how to do it so that I can stay employed, and so that more than staying employed, so that I can continue to blossom and grow as an artist and human being. I think the thing, if you look back at the past generation of entertainers, when you look at the Ella Bonds and the Mounts Mableys and Anthony, you're exactly right. The versatility thing is what I'm speaking to. Is all of those people didn't do just one thing. They acted, they sang, they danced, they learned how to play the piano, they picked up an instrument, they learned a second language. And so, I mean, it's real, right? And so the thing that I see now in a lot of young artists is that they get stuck, right? They get stuck. My biggest thing, I love this word, is pivot. Is like, because if one door closes, you can stand there all day long going, is this door going to open again or not? And you'll be stuck. But if you can pivot to the next thing, even if you have to learn how to do it, there's so many courses on YouTube. There's so many people that you can get in touch with to go, hey, can you teach me how to play guitar? Can you teach me how to play piano? And nobody says you have to know how to do it well. Right? But you at least have to give yourself an opportunity to do it.
The basics. Yes.
Not just guitar.
I have to ask you this. This is who was the first opportunity you got to direct with? You have several directing credits. Who
So the first directing opportunity I got was with Lil Rel.
Okay.
I produced a bunch of stand-up comedy specials just because it was like the natural progression of things put me in a space where, all right, I gotta, it slowed down for me. I'm not selling tickets as a stand-up comic. I'm not making money on the road. One of the things that I think really hurt me is that when I did Def Comedy Jam, again, I was very young and I got on the tour, and it allowed me to kind of skip a grade, so to speak, right? So in the comedy game, I like to think that I went from the 10th grade straight to the 12th grade. And I missed the opportunity to do shows like Comic View and some of those other shows and build an audience and go out and tour and play that Chitlin Club circuit. I just missed that. Right. And so because I missed it, I missed the opportunity to build the kind of relationship like comics like Bruce and Lavelle Crawford and Carol Underwood have with those audiences, which is super duper personal. Right. Audiences across this country are, that Chitlin circuit are always going to show up for Mike Epps. Right. Because he's traveled this country enough times, be it by car, bus, plane, or however, and had enough engagement with those people that they feel like he's family. And when they feel like you're family, they got to show up whenever you come to town.
Yes, sir.
And so because I missed that, at a certain point, I realized that, I'm not out here on the road selling tickets. I honestly don't want to go out on the road and have to start from scratch in that regard. But one thing that I can do, because I have all of these relationships, is I can produce comedy. I have taste, I have the relationships, and I have the know-how. And so I was like, well, let me focus on producing comedy. And I got some opportunities that allowed me to produce big comedy specials. And because I built those relationships with talent, right, I'll call Cedric, call DL, call all of these comics and employ them, and they watch me, right? It's one thing when your name is a credit, but when your peers show up because you call them and ask them to be a part of production, and they watch you actually put the entire production together in the same way that Rikki's talking about, right? They go, oh, shit, Royale he's not just a comic. He actually knows what he's doing. He knows how to build comedy productions. So then they start looking at you different, and the conversation changes. And so, and the conversation just changes from you as the producer, because now with that skill set, you feel confident picking up the phone and calling people and saying, hey, if you want to do a special, right, let me produce and direct it. And you are backed by the experience that they've been a part of one of your productions. So there's an inherent trust built in the conversation. So you're not talking about some shit you can do. You're talking about some shit y'all have already done together. Now you just want to do it again differently. What you're now saying is, I want the entire check to come through my company, and I want to be the person quarterbacking the whole play for you.
Wow.
So Laurel was actually the first person that gave me the opportunity to direct his special. And the person who was my producing and directing partner, Rich Schlansker, he was the director that I used for all of my productions. So what I did was ask him to step in and make sure that I was doing everything that I needed to do to deliver the product that he would have delivered, right? If he was hired. So I got to kind of stand on his feet at the dance a little bit, but also, right, be the person going, all right, here's my vision. I just need you to make sure that I execute this vision without fucking up, fucking up the buyer's money, so to speak.
Got you. So we have a couple of segments, or actually one segment left, but as we want to know, do you want to stay with us? We have, because I got maybe one more question for you, but it's called Idiot of the Week. And so if you want to stay with us,
actually we're doing Ask Reddit of the Week.
Oh, Ask Reddit of the Week.
We shifted. We shifted.
Sorry. Oh no. So but would you like to stay with us until we close down at 10, or are you got one more? How you feeling? Because you came and you've been a champion.
So here's the thing. I would love to hang out. The unfortunate, well, not unfortunate, is that I'm employed writing on a TV show right now. And so I'm usually up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, just because I have to go out and exercise first before I start my day. And, and I have to be able to have a conversation with my wife before we go to sleep at night. So
yes,
as much as I would love, and I'm not, usually I do this at my house, but April is doing a podcast as well. So she has the house at the space at the house, and I'm here at my office, which is away from the house. So I actually have to drive home.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So
I did notice the office wall, and you know what? When a guy like me with a beard calls when we have that many Post-it notes, do you know what we call it when a guy with a beard like me has it?
I don't know what.
It's called a manifesto.
Oh my Lord!
Get out! Get out!
Can you pick a favorite thing to do? Is that possible between stand-up, writing?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. I mean, listen, stand-up. I stand slightly corrected. Stand-up comedy will absolutely always be my first love.
Okay.
But the reality is like all of these, like the producing, the directing, acting, they're like different children in my family. So just because the stand-up came first, I mean,
still gotta spread the love around. You gotta spread
the
love.
Biological
the
son,
acting,
and then the rest.
Listen, I absolutely love being on camera, and the thing that I struggle with right now is that, right, I'm not on camera as much as I would love to be back on camera, just because as an actor, I think I bring something to storytelling that is special, and I just want more opportunities to do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We'll write it and we will come. Whatever it is, write it and we will come.
Well, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing right now. That's the beauty of me, again, learning as much as I've learned, is that you get to a space where it's not about reaching out to people and asking permission, right? You build the resources you need for yourself to create the product and put it out. There's again, there's so many free platforms to put out content, and when you learn how to do it with what you have, nobody can ever tell you no. Nobody can ever tell you can't. When you learn to do it with the resources that you have, they say, like, do the best you can with what you have. Right? Is create art with what you have. Simple storytelling. Simple storytelling.
Simple storytelling. All right. Well, we want to have you back at some point because we want to talk about comedy albums. Like you're saying, all like we want to. I don't know. Like there's just all these things in our heads. We are so blessed and grateful that you came and spent time with us, Royale. And what a great night with you and Rikki.
I'm blessed to be here. I thank you, Dana. Of course, you know what I mean. We go way back. So I'm excited to see you continuing to grow what you're doing. And that you now have the support of the team and the folks around you is even more meaningful and special. But anytime I can be of a resource or any other thing, don't hesitate to reach out to me because you have that relationship.
Yes.
Amen. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. Woo! All right, you guys.
Thank you.
Blessings. I'll be well. Continue to grow.
Thank you, Royale. Thank you. Woo. How do we say goodbye?
Wow.
Like this.
Oh my God. I love it.
Let me make some minor adjustments for that.
Well, now we are going on to our Ask Right of the Week. This is called If People Used Breakup Lines Instead of Pickup Lines, What Would Some of Them Be? Can you read this one coming up here, Stefan?
Sure. Let me put that up.
You love Dana. Thank you.
I was gonna say, Ronnie, I got that touched my heart in a special way. Oh my God, I know we got the thing happening, but oh my God, thank you, Ronnie. Oh my God. Okay, sorry, you guys, I'm emotional.
That's all good. Ghost to
Let it out, girl.
Test. Hey, girl, are you a newspaper? Because there's a new issue with you every fucking day.
These are breakup lines, by the way. This is when you want to break up. Okay. Yes, this is not hitting on video. This is when you are done with that asshole or bitch or whatever you want to call them. Whatever you want to call them.
Oh my God! Damn
it! Sorry.
Pinche Stacy, huh? Is that the new nickname?
Oh my God! You sound like my ex-boyfriends. Oh my God!
Oh, geez. I don't know if we got the voice down, but hey, how about Stacy? Read this one.
Okay. Hey, baby, are you a tunnel? Because we're breaking up.
Oh boy. Oh boy, that's a joke about cell phones. The kids will get that one. The rest of us with our telegraph machines won't. But yes,
my rotary phone.
Yes. How about Dana? How about you go on this one? Here we go.
Let me see. All right. One of my favorite things in the world. Hey, are you an anchor? Because you've done nothing but weigh me down.
This guy got 56,000 points for this shit.
Wow.
Holy Lord.
I love anchors though. I have a thing about anchors. So even though he's kind of, that's a different spin, but I got a thing about anchors.
Think about anchors, huh? I got to think about cankers.
Canker source.
Don't worry, I didn't bring pictures of that. All right. So
or did I?
And I guess I'll read the last one we're going to have before I think some of us should think of our own after this one, but this was the biggest one. They say one man's trash is another man's treasure. I hope you find someone who treasures you.
Ooh, that's a rough one.
Wow. That's a rough one. Hey, let's sing it some more.
I love that one.
What would be some good other breakup lines? Anybody in the audience, come on, tell us what you think.
Yeah, what you got?
Serious question. Do you think if I text this to all my exes, I would get positive responses?
You know that many people in Texas? That's a bad joke. Anyway.
Hi there, darling. Thank you for this canned text.
That's funny.
Text it to all the guys that ghosted me too.
Come on, anybody? Hey, somebody in the audience, come on, give us something. We're gonna think of something real quick.
Come on, Ronnie. I know you got something in there.
Pinche Stacy does not count. Okay, I want originality.
The original, all right? Like Big Mac sauce, the original.
How about we should make like oh gosh, I want to say the right word. Ah, geez, let me look up the right word.
What?
Yeah, I don't want to say the wrong one. Fine, I'll say the anti-PC word. We should make like Siamese twins and split up, and then you be the one that dies.
Oh,
okay. Okay.
Get out.
okay.
That
Get
relationship
out.
will last a long time.
Right,
done.
right. Okay. Yeah.
Wait,
don't
answer.
have
It's
any-
hardcore.
I don't have
Andrew's
any.
got one.
Make
Um,
like a baby and head out.
Head out.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Get out.
I think that's funny. I do think that's funny. Okay, now, Ronnie said,
Oh.
"Hey, baby, are you a turd? Because I want to dump you." Okay. I
That's
feel
better than
that.
that's better than what I had.
I was like,
How about
I love turd. I love turd. That is old school.
how about
You
is your
love
astrological Wait, what? Oh, yeah. How about is your astrological side Cancer? Because I need you removed.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's brutal though.
That's funny. I mean, yeah, like it's a tough one. Tough one. Oh my God. Like one night, my dad came to a comedy show and someone had a joke about prostate cancer. And my dad is survivor, he's fine, he's whatever. But I was very nervous, like, oh my God, is that gonna be a problem for my dad? I don't even know if he heard the joke, but yeah, like, anyway. Sue's Wolf has a great one about cancer, and she always says, "I survived." Her joke is, is about herself.
Oh yeah, I think that one. That's a good one.
Yes, she does.
I survived. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't have any good. I just personally, I love the turd one. I have to admit.
Yeah, no, that was a pretty good.
That's actually pretty good, Ronnie. You killed it.
Good
And
job.
I love the work of the word turd. Like there's, you gotta love the word.
You like the word turd?
Well, because they didn't say, "Are you a shit?" Because I want to dump you. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I like, "Are you a turd?"
He had a little class
a
to it.
shit?
There was a little class.
Yeah, like, "Are you a shit?"
Oh,
Because I want to dump you.
little classy.
how about are you the TV show Lost? Because I'm going to cancel you before our story is over.
Ooh, okay,
No.
okay.
It's a little long.
It's a little long.
To be funny, but I get you. Like it's like the Damon Wayans story. If you start on Monday, by Thursday you'll have the joke.
You'll have something.
Yes, I will. Hey, I put that one on the spot.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. So that's the Monday, and then the Thursday. And I thought just as an after party moment, that was a very powerful thing. I know we're talking about whatever, but I found that to be a very powerful story. Like talking about watching Damon Wayans come in on Monday with kind of loose notes, and then having a set by Thursday.
And actually, I think that's important to mention to the people out there that either haven't tried comedy or something. We're not going to name any names, but some of the biggest names that they go to open mics and they don't have stuff that day.
And they can bomb too.
And they go out and they do it until they get their new hour, their new half hour, whatever they got to get.
Oh yeah.
And then they get out there and they just then you see them by their special and you're like, oh my God, how did you think of that? You're so witty. It's like, no, I went out and had a lot of people look at me like this for a whit.
Right.
Yeah,
It's true though. Like I've seen so many people work on their special, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you guys are horrible. And then I see their special and I'm like, you guys are incredible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they got out there and did the
It's
work.
like magic. Ta-da!
I think Jerry Seinfeld's comedian, which we're told to, when you talk to Bobby at the Dow Comedy Studio, she recommends watching that. And Jerry Seinfeld did it to show people that he was an established, he was the wealthiest, highest paid comedian, lost his show, and went out and said, "Screw it, I'm starting over." And he had to go up on stage with notes in his hand and just, hey, I'm gonna do this. Not all of it worked.
Okay.
But he got his hour over many months.
Serious question. Is he like autistic or like socially awkward or something? Because
Seinfeld?
I've heard so many negative things. Yeah, I've heard so many negative things about him.
Hey.
You know what I think?
Pretty close proximity. Like,
yeah. I think
he's a performer. He's an artist. He has quirks.
He's an artist. He's a performer. He has quirks. But I also think that when you reach a level of status like he has, I'd say maybe after 10 years of, or maybe even 20 years of hearing the same questions, it probably drives him nuts.
Right.
Yeah,
He's been
it's my
famous.
best guess.
So
And he's been famous a long time. He's been, famous a long time.
Oh yeah, you know.
Who knows?
I
I mean,
think a question I get a lot of the times when people found out that I worked in a studio, I worked with musicians, they'll ask me, musicians that make it, why do they end up resorting to drugs? And I'm like, well, think about this. Say you do a hit song, right? Now, every show you play, someone wants to hear you play that damn song again for the next 20 years.
It's no joke.
Eventually, some of them go,
Bohemian
I'm going to do
Rhapsody.
some coke so I can pretend I still like this.
Well, and then you have to give the same emotion that the people
Yeah.
who loved it,
mhm.
that they want that energy to be reflected everywhere now, right?
And
That same
and
energy. Whoa, well, I wasn't the
True.
same as the first time I heard it. What the
Prince,
hell?
well,
Mm.
Prince recognized this was happening to him, and I know he's no longer with us,
Oh, I
but
love Prince.
there was a tour that he did where he told everybody, this is the last tour where you're going to hear me do Purple Rain, When the Doves Cry. After this, I'm doing all my new stuff. I've played all these songs too much, and he actually did that. His last tour after that, he
I
was
saw him.
just doing all new stuff. He
Mm.
was
Yep,
not doing
I
any
saw
of the
him.
hits, and it's like, you love your fans. But if you had to do the same song over and over again, it can be crushing for a little bit. It's
Which-
even though you love your fans.
Mhm.
I've done that. I did music for 17 plus years. I've been on tour and had to play the same songs over and over and over and over. So yeah, I can
That's
get that.
I saw my favorite saxophonist a while back, David Sanborn, and there's a song he had that kind of got him to, like, he's fantastic forever, but he had a great song called Chicago Song. And I mean, jazz is a little different, but like, I swear you guys, he did not play it. And like, I got to talk to the bassist after the show, because I'm that kind of girl. Like, I'll walk up to stage and talk to people, and I'll weasel my way backstage. I did not, but I was just like, why? And he's like, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. He doesn't always want to play it. It was a big song, so it's just how it is.
It's definitely, you play your songs best when you have it in you and you're like, look at this, look what I'm doing. I mean, from a metal perspective, look what I'm doing up here. And if you were to continue to do that over and over again, if for your Motley Crue and for the 7,000th time you got to do Dr. Feelgood, it's really tough to get up that energy and go, I'm going to do this again. Like, and that's what actually drives a lot of musicians, unfortunately, to do certain things that we go, why would you do that? You're on top of the world. It's like, because I gotta go out and I gotta do Piano Man again.
Well, you know what it is because a lot of entertainers really, without them even having to say it, feel like it's like people throwing quarters at a monkey. Dance, monkey, dance. Right?
Wow,
I
and
love that song.
I can imagine that's a
So
tough space.
sad.
Yeah, it's I can imagine that's a tough space. It's something that I definitely feel. I saw a headline today on the Flash, and we're about to go, so it may be something we talk about next week, or maybe not, you guys. But I saw today, like, Kanye West peed on one of his Grammys. They said you're in it. Yeah, so I don't. So like, I love, like, I just.
I can't defend this
Wait,
anymore. I cannot.
doesn't that make it doesn't that make it
He
worth
called
more on
me a
eBay?
nice check, but I can't do it anymore.
I
would
don't know.
think
I just
so.
love him. I love him so much, and it just broke my heart when I read it. And it was just, because and actually he comes to mind. I know we're about to bounce out of here. It comes to mind because he has a great interview with Charlemagne the God, like an hour-long piece that they did last year, and he talks about kind of trying to find his footing, with his music, and what to do with, like, the changes in the music business and all these things. And so, just you guys' point that I think there's a load of, I guess, certain agonies, and agony may be a melodramatic word, but there's a certain set of agonies that do come with the life of a musician, depending on,
We're going to talk about this next week. Yeah, we're going to talk about this.
Well,
next
hey,
week.
I gotta say though, like, at some point you could say I have this problem or I have this problem, and you do enough things, and it's like, you know what, dude? Too bad that you have that problem. I'm not dealing with it anymore.
Well, you know what though? I would kill to
Yeah.
have that $10 billion in that private plane and have those problems. Please give me those problems. I would love to bathe in that suffering. Give it to me, please.
You're not sure until you're
All
there.
right, we're gonna.
Oh,
we're
I
gonna
still
talk
want
about
it.
this next week. Yeah, we're gonna
Give it
talk
to
about
me.
this next
So
week.
just
And by the way, so any of my fellow German friends, we're gonna be talking about peeing on things next week. You're gonna be happy.
So just high vibes, high vibes to Kanye and the family and the whole thing. Cause I don't bring it up to make fun. It just really bothered me. And I just feel like, there's just, you know, a thing there. But we had a great show. Everybody saying good night. And you guys, thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to everybody who came through. And thank you to everybody that's listening everywhere. Because just so you guys know, Dana Nicole Jocks, Dana Jocks is here. Somebody hit me on text like, like they were yelling at me through the text like for not knowing Zach Galifianakis. I can't say his last name, but
Zach it's Galifianakis. How is that so hard?
And so I got a finger shaking on my phone, not even in here. So I know that people are listening outside of, you know, that we may not be aware. So we want to say thank you to everyone who's tuning in from wherever you're tuning in, and the fact that we can't.
Wait, I thought it was Galifianakis.
It is Galifianakis.
Yeah, it is Galifianakis.
Thank you. Damn,
no, it's good.
yeah.
It's good.
Anyway, with that, all right. So you guys, I know we got to say good night.
We just want to say thank you to Rikki Hughes. Thank you so much for you know, joining us and hanging out with us. And thank you to Royale Watkins for hanging out with us and talking with us and engaging with the audience and, you know, giving them encouragement, inspiration, motivation, and hope. Thank you so much. And we love you all, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.